Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your openness to share your story with our community because your turnaround is just so remarkable.
Mhm.
And now you are done, and people would love to hear from you and learn from what you've been through and hopefully not make the same mistakes you made along the way.
Yes. Oh, it's such a
So,
pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you very much for inviting me. You can't imagine how happy I am right now because uh, you know that just a few weeks ago I was in total panic mode, bench tests, interviews, non-stop studying. It was really intense, but now finally I feel relieved and incredibly grateful to have been accepted, and of course, grateful to you for playing such a huge part in my success. You know that. And I'm
oh,
really excited to share my story. And I think it might help other candidates to, help them go through this crazy process in the best way possible and reach their own success in the end.
yes. And a process this is because it really is long. And I think for most everybody, it's not what they expected it to be. And so
Yeah.
there's just a lot of curveballs along the way, and it's rough. Okay, let's start from first off, you just got accepted, not invited, accepted at where?
Uh, University of Missouri, Kansas City, and
Mm-hmm.
University of North Carolina. Now,
Congratulations. Now you have choices.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I mean, you have a choice, which is incredible. Okay. And this was how many cycles did you go through to get this?
yes, this is important. I think it's worth saying that this year actually was my third year applying. The past 2 years, I only applied to a few schools, but I didn't get invited to any interviews. So I remember stopping and asking myself, well, why? What's going on? I'm a good person. I'm pretty sure I'm a good professional as well. So why not? And I'm not kidding. I remember going to sleep and thinking, I just want an opportunity to be invited to at least one. And then
One.
that's when I decided that I needed to review my personal statement.
Mm.
And I started looking for some professional help online. And that's when I came across International Dentist Central and I met Kevin.
And I'm so glad you found us and took the leap to actually work with us. Now, tell me, so the previous 2 years, how did you work on your personal statement? Were you doing it all by yourself?
Yes, I asked a person last year to review for
Mm,
me, and uh, she said just a few things that I could change, nothing that special. So I think I kept making them the same mistakes, only this year that we reviewed and I changed a lot of things in my personal statement. Talking about this, uh, first I met Kevin, right, and we spoke a couple of times, and I remember asking him, Kevin, I do want to be accepted this year, so what should I do? Uh,
mm,
get an interview invite, and he said, uh, yeah, let's start from the very beginning. And he reviewed my personal statement and also the way I was describing my professional experience in the CAAPID platform. So the first
mm,
thing he did was explain how I was coming across when someone read my personal statement. And
mm.
that completely shifted my mindset.
Ah, so before you had wrote it, did you apply the 2 previous years with the same SOP?
Not really, because the two last years I applied for just nearby schools. So I decided this year to go abroad, you know.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure that if I had my personal statement the way it was the past 2 years, uh,
It was not going to work. So
yeah,
tell
yeah,
me
it would
how
be
the
more.
approach that Kevin wanted to take or Kevin took with you and he helped you worked on was different from before. Because you said it blew your mind, but can you think of something concrete? What does it mean? Like why, what shifted?
Yeah, uh, the point is, sometimes we think we are being clear, you know,
Mm,
but the way we write isn't always the way the reader understands it, you know, because I believe that everybody or almost everybody has good stories to tell and interesting experiences to share, but the way we put them into words makes a big difference. And schools are
mm-hmm.
looking for something specific, and we have to understand how they think. So having helped me a lot see that, and guided me to rewrite my statement so it would come across the right way. And
So
that was a game changer for me.
would you say that your final SOP after you worked with Kevin was completely different, or would you say it was about, I don't know, 30% different from what you had originally had before?
I think it was completely different. Way how I was starting writing, things that I decided to cut, you know, like down. This
Mm,
is not good. Uh, After talking uh, a lot with him, like uh, I was thinking about the way the person who was reading, uh, how it came across, you know, how I was presenting myself, you know, I was presenting
hmm.
myself in a way that I was not letting them see the real me, you know, the things that I sometimes we think we are being interesting, but sometimes it can be boring. You know? So I think we changed a lot. I changed a lot the way I was describing things there.
Ah, okay. Good to know. And you mentioned that you also talked a little bit about the CAPID application itself, because a lot of
Yes.
people look at the CAPID application and they go, oh, I just have to write what I did, right? And I'm pretty sure that's how you approached it. Or is that true? The first 2 years?
Because yeah, because I think, as I said, sometimes we think we are being clear, especially because sometimes I was describing my specific like uh, things that I had done in my
Hmm.
practice, for example, in my field. But the person that maybe the person that was reading uh, doesn't understand what I'm describing. You know, it's another specialty. So if you can be like more specific or sometimes more, um, you know, it's being clear. I try to be clear, but more direct in direct way, like with bullet points. You know, it also helped me. Uh,
Hmm. That makes sense. So you completely redid your application, your SOP, and your CV with Kevin, and you
yeah,
sent your applications in. And this time you did apply to more schools, which good for you for being open to that. And you
yeah.
did that. And then you started getting interview invites. Now tell me what happened next.
What followed was amazing. Up until now, I've been invited to 6 different schools.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, and my husband thinks I could even get more because most of the California schools haven't started sending the invitations yet. But
Hmm.
as I told you, I'm done. It's so exhausting, demanding the process. But and now, of course, I'm happy now. Uh, so yeah, and the first, but can I tell you about the first, what happened with me, the first invitation that I got?
Please.
Because the first one, I think it's where the second important part of my story comes in because it might help others. I was really excited for my first invitation. It was to the University of Alabama, UAB.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, I will have some time to prepare for the interview first.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first mistake, because I didn't know that some schools invite you for the bench test first, and only if you pass you get the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And it all happened so fast. Suddenly they emailed me saying, congratulations, you have your bench test in a couple of days. And I was not prepared whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And what did I do? I relied on a 2-day online course from a YouTuber, CAAPID influencer, that I had
Mm-hmm.
done last year. And this person said, oh, bench test, don't worry, you will be fine. Just watch my videos. The preps are pretty much the same. They just want to see if you have hand skills. And sometimes I remember the person said, sometimes they want to see if you can at least hold high speed hand piece and do basic preps.
Oh dear.
And I was like, oh, fine, nice. I can do that. I've got hand skills, So
Yeah.
here we go. And guess what? I failed, of course.
Oh
And
my gosh.
but uh, I actually think that failing UAB was a blessing in disguise, because after that, I decided to seek professional help with
Mm-hmm.
experts, with experienced instructors, real professionals. So I met you, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, and it changed everything for me, because can I say about your course?
Yeah, please.
Because your course was amazing and helped me a lot. Um, uh, Her course, Dr. Lisa, has tons of videos uh, for each prep you need to know, for every tool, for every type of preparation, because, for example, prepping the first upper molar is totally different from prepping the first lower molar. And how to make, for example, that I had to do, how to do an MO/OL prep on the first upper molar, and what makes a full gold crown different from a PFM crown, the best burrs to use uh, for every type of prep, everything you breaks down, explain everything's really well, and all we have to do is our own preps and take pictures. You teach us to take good pictures and send the pictures to her. And Dr. Elisa carefully analyzes uh, the pictures and send us detailed feedback in a video she records using the pictures we sent. And in the pictures, she points out specific areas where we can improve, or things that we can keep doing, for example. So for me, it's amazing. It was amazing. It was really helpful, and I do recommend.
Thank
Yeah.
you for the very, very sweet words about the course. Now, I do want to ask you a question. Did you feel like the online course was enough? Because a lot of people are worried, like, oh, we learned dentistry through like over watching somebody, and
You
I need to
know,
go to a course. Tell me what your experience about that
I
was.
think it's worth saying that I know many people that pay for expensive 1 week in-person courses, which are great. You definitely learn quite a bit. However, you really improve by practicing your preps consistently over time and getting continuous feedback, professional feedback. like I did. Getting better takes time, and the more you practice, the more you will improve. So that's my
And
opinion.
and you did pass the bench test, so I guess that does
Yeah,
say
yeah,
something because you did fail the first one and
yes.
then you
And the second
prepared.
one, the second one I felt really prepared, and I think I I had done really well, and I did my best, um, and and
Yeah.
we could
Well,
see the results.
yeah, and I mean it worked. And so
Yeah.
when you went to the bench test the second time, did you feel like I got this, or were you like I'm still scared? Like did anything surprise you at the bench test?
No, nothing surprised me.
Mhm.
However, it's like it's a stressful situation.
Yeah.
I remember after a few days at UMC, UMKC, University of
Mhm.
Missouri, Kansas City. After some days there, I remember on the day of the bench test, I went to the restroom after at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
I just cried. It was such a mix of feelings. I thought, oh, I had done well, but at the same time, I was not sure, but I I thought, oh, I did my best, and I think I was hoping for good results, and I was crying. I didn't know exactly why. So I
Yeah.
think, especially because the past 2 months for me uh, had been tough, so much going on personally. So it's a stressful moment in your life, but I felt that I did well. I felt much more prepared. So I think I was. My husband said, "I think you were crying because you knew that you had passed."
You made it. And you did make it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and I got accepted. The
Mhm.
the the director of the program called me and said that I did really well on the bench test, and I cried
Oh.
again on the phone. Oh my God. But
Yeah, that I mean, because that's quite a turnaround from not passing a bench test, not even enough to do the interview itself, to doing a bench test and being personally told by the director that you did very good on your
yes.
bench test for the second one was a huge turnaround. Now we skipped over the interview completely. Let's take a moment to talk about your interviews because
Mm.
interview preparation is can also be very nuanced, but you also had some weaknesses in your profile that concerned you, and you had to make sure, well, both for your applications too, but also for your interviews, that you were prepared to answer those. So would you mind sharing some weaknesses in your past that you were a little bit worried that would come up?
Yes, I was worried a lot about my upcoming interviews. Around that time, I was uh, practicing my preps and preparing for the interviews all at once. It was a
That's
crazy,
chaos. Yes.
chaotic, but I kept bugging Kevin for help.
Mhm.
Not sure how much I annoyed him, but he was amazing. He spent hours with me, and he did the same he did with my personal statement. He helped me understand exactly what the schools are looking for. Uh,
Mm.
he showed me how to present myself in a way that really lets them see the real me. He showed me how to steer clear of certain topics in interviews, that
Mm.
could be a bit controversial, and how to get through it if I am put on the spot. So when I hear people say, "Oh, interviews, don't worry, just be yourself," and no, come on. No, I mean, yes, you should be yourself, but you also need to be well prepared. You have to know how to grab their attention and
Mhm.
keep them hooked, so they can walk away liking you. And I think I've learned how to break the ice and turn that interview into more of a conversation. And something else I think to keep in mind is what to do if you don't know an answer, because sometimes there isn't a right answer, but I believe there is a right way to respond. So all we need to do is leave that room with a great impression of who we are.
Okay, so did you come across any questions that were unexpected for you during the interview?
Oh, yeah.
And how did you deal with it?
uh, I think I have an interesting example to share, that something tricky that happened to me during my interview at University of North Carolina, UNC, with the second group that was interviewing me. There were four interviewers in that room, and one of them asked me in a kind of cold, straight up way, tell me about the time that you encountered a cultural misunderstanding among staff at work, and what was the situation and what did you do? And I remember thinking really fast, oh, that's never happened to me. And I smiled and I said, that's never actually happened to me. However, I can think of a situation where it could have happened, and I can tell you what I might do. Or if you prefer, I can share a similar situation with a patient that really happened. And I saw the three other interviewers turning their heads toward
Mm.
me. They
Mm-hmm.
seemed way more interested, and they said, oh, nice. Of course, tell us about it. And I shared a real example of a patient who refused the treatment plan I proposed because of his religious beliefs. And I explained how I handle it, and I think they really liked it.
That was
So,
good thinking because a lot of people they would struggle in that situation because you were told to you weren't asked did you have a situation, you were told to tell me about this situation which you have never encountered, and
no,
you took that and you panicked internally, but you didn't show your panic, you smiled and you
yeah,
turned it around and said, I
yes.
don't have this,
I was
but I
thinking,
have that.
yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know how to answer that. But for me, I think the key was to be honest, be prepared, and
Mm-hmm,
stay calm. To tell you the truth, I had a few ethical scenarios up my sleeve.
mm-hmm,
So whenever I didn't have a direct answer, I could still respond with a similar situation. I think it's
mm,
really important to pay attention to things that happen to you at work, for example, like I did when I was working as a dental assistant, because you can describe them and use them
mm-hmm.
in your interview. Because I think
Absolutely.
for me, interviews are not just a list of questions and answers, are conversations, right? So if you can create a moment to show how fast you can think and how you can make how you can make the discussion interesting for them, awesome.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very good example. And really good job making sure you had stories to respond with, because this
Yeah,
is very important to do.
yeah.
But because I would presume that Kevin kind of gave you a big framework on how to think about everything, now you were able to prepare stories that fit into this framework.
Yes,
And
because yeah, it was a thing that we discussed about it, because things that I was concerned, like, if I don't, how can I answer if I don't know the answer? How,
mhm,
uh, things that we can, uh, because they want to talk, they want to see you. It's not a checklist that, okay, this is right, no, this is wrong. I don't believe it's
mhm,
like this. And when I left the room, I thought, oh, let's see if if it worked, if I made it or not. But I think there was a person over there that said, oh, I think they like the way you you handle things. I think they want to see like this, how you handle things, how you can answer and how you can talk. They want to talk about things that they like they want to make a good conversation, with you. So
Absolutely. Ah.
Kevin taught me a lot about how to stay calm, talk, how to talk. They want to see you talking about things that can be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I understand your background correctly, you know what? I just realized that we never touched upon your actual, like your stats. You know how like people love to hear about that? So can we take a moment to talk about that part just so that people have a good framework to understand what your background was?
Yeah, I am orthodontist.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working as an orthodontist for many years, the last years of my life, almost 10 years. So
Mm-hmm.
it was really hard for me when I have to practicing the preps because, you know, I, to be honest, I can't remember the last time I I did prep like for a full gold crown.
Right.
But we are dentists. You know the basic concepts. We can if you have time, you
Mm-hmm.
can practice, you can remember, you can study, and you can improve and be ready for the bench test. But I, it was my first concern when I figured that, oh, they have bench tests. The schools are going to ask me for the bench test. Oh my gosh, how it's gonna work. So, but I kept practicing, and you helped me a lot. What else about my background?
What
Yeah.
is your GPA? So you have two GPAs,
Oh, yeah.
right?
You know, uh, I've seen many candidates
Mm-hmm.
with really great stats, like high GPAs, TOEFL score over 100, substantial experience, and yet not getting a single invitation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe it's important to stand out in your personal statement
Mm-hmm.
and interview and bench test, because I think uh, even if your GPA is not that high, it was my case, I will tell you about it, but even if your GPA was not that high, you can still get a really good chance of getting invited if you present yourself in the right way and highlight interesting stories for the admissions committee. uh, I am a good example because I told my husband, oh, my GPA is not that high. It was 2.94
Oh, that
is
was my exact GPA, 2.94.
and I was praying for some schools because I've heard that some schools they accept WES.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas my GPA was much better, 3.7, I think 3.7, something like that. But one thing that interesting, UNC, University of North Carolina, they say we didn't accept, we don't accept WES, only
Mm-hmm.
ECE. And I was like, oh, I'm how can I manage that? Because my GPA was not that high. So I think if I can, if I had to give some advice for other candidates, so it would be, don't worry too much with your GPA. You can stand out in other things. Be prepared for other things.
That really is a point where a lot of people are worried about. So actually, let me ask you, because some people ask me this exact question. My GPA is really low. Do I explain why it's low in my personal statement? So did you have any explanation in terms of why your GPA was so low in your personal statement?
No,
So what'd you do
personally,
about it?
no. I was prepared to say something about this during my interview if they ask me. So if they ask me, I would say things that because in my country, this is not a common thing that they don't care too much about GPA. And I was pretty sure that I was a good student during my dental school. So I honestly, I don't think it reflects my my performance, during my school, my dental school. So I was prepared for this kind of question, but I had other more interesting things to put to describe in my personal statement because we have a limited words to write. So come on, I will not say about my GPA here. I
Mhm.
will talk about other things, and uh, it worked. So
Good.
and
And mhm.
they didn't ask me anything about it in any
Ah,
interview I had. Nothing. So I
okay.
don't
Good.
believe. I don't think they want to talk about your GPA during the interview.
It
I
has been asked for some candidates in the past, but not always. And I'm really glad you didn't have to talk about it. I actually did have to talk about it at one of the interviews, but
don't.
I did go to a lot of interviews and most of them didn't ask me about it. Um,
Yeah, as I
well
said,
done.
we have to be prepared for everything for you. You have to be prepared. You have to know your personal statement really well. You have to know how to talk about it. You have to, be prepared for things that they can mention. But uh, did I tell you about the online interview that I had at Boston University?
No, please do tell.
Because on the other hand, I had a really tough online interview at Boston University. I think it was the hardest one. Seriously, pray you don't have to do an online interview because, in my opinion, it's super challenging. You can't uh, read the room, and you can't see body language. They can see yours, but you can't really see theirs. In my case, what happened at the start of the interview, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, because the video was just showing her eyes, was just like showing her, literally showing only her eyes. And I was sitting there all polite, saying, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be trying to be friendly. And she just started firing questions at me so fast and kept cutting me off, and I couldn't even see her face. It was weird, but I reminded to stay calm, and I tried to steer the conversation the best I could, and I think I handled it pretty well, because in the middle of the conversation she'd moved her camera to show her face, and I saw her drop her pen and started talking to me much more warmly, calling me sweetie, all that. So
Very nice.
yeah, but it was definitely tough.
That sounds so, so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that experience. And did we talk about everything that we needed to talk about? You got another interview invitation, or did you, from another school?
Yeah, but I declined.
Ah,
Um, One interesting thing that happened to me, not that interesting, but something that can help other candidates not make the same mistake I did. Because, some schools might invite you for the bench test first, or an interview, or both at the same time, but they can give you very short notice, just a couple of days. And that actually happened to me with the University of Washington. I was on an international trip, and the online interview was scheduled on the day I was flying back home. So I couldn't attend, and they said they couldn't reschedule at all, and I missed that opportunity. So uh, I like to say, be ready as soon as you apply, because things can move really fast, and don't make the same mistake I did.
Yeah, because you never get a warning that you're gonna get a call and then get a call. No, you one day you don't have a call, the next moment you have a call and you are on. But 3 days notice is a very, very
Yeah, yeah,
short one. So
was.
that really is unfortunate. Any advice you have for anybody in this process?
Yes. If I had to give some advice, the first thing I would say is about the TOEFL. Really focus on your TOEFL score because spend plenty of time preparing for that exam because I think having a great score really helps a lot. While I was preparing for the TOEFL exam, I worked on answering quickly and coming up with ideas on the fly. So I think it helped me a lot, helped me learn how to stay calm, be creative, and think fast in stressful situations. So just be mindful of your TOEFL score because I think it matters more than you might think. And
May I
my
ask what your TOEFL score was that you applied with?
102
Good. Yeah.
and my best score was 110,
Hmm.
which I think is really good. I focus on more than 100, but
Yes. 3 digit.
less the past 2 years, my TOEFL score was 99, and I couldn't apply to some schools because they require 100, and I was
Hmm.
like because of 1 point, I was oh my gosh, and then this year I improved and I thank God I got more than 100, but my second tip is not about TOEFL, not about score. My second tip is about personal statement. I think it's really super important because the admissions committee doesn't know you yet. So it's your first chance to spark their interest and show them who you are. As I told you, I've seen many candidates with really high stats and not getting invitations. So uh, uh, spend time reviewing and get some real professional help as I had with Kevin because it matters. Um and of course, the bench test. I explained all the benefits to be prepared, and you need to, for me, the real question about the bench test is what you should do. What do you have to do to stand out and be better than everybody else? Because uh, everybody there, I believe everybody there has hand skills. After all, we are all dentists. So what you have to do to be better, so you have to know all the preps really well to do um, like something that is slightly different, but it makes a huge difference. In the beginning, I thought I remember practicing my preps, and I was like, I think it's good, but no, it was not. It
Do
takes
you
time.
remember the first feedback I gave you?
I remember, and I was like, I think it is. You asked me the grade. Oh, no, I think it's like a 7, and it will not pass if you. And I was like, oh, because you know, uh, you have to understand. I think we have to understand what makes what are the differences, like a PFM crown is full of details and things that you can uh, um, make a good impression for them to see. They have to know, they have to believe that you know what you're doing. you know so
That's a good way to put it because you can do a crown, but you're right. Like there are a lot of little details, and having them or not having them does make the difference between the impression of does she know what a PFM is meant to
yeah,
do or
yeah,
not?
yeah, exactly, yeah. And my third tip would be ready as soon as you apply because things can move really fast. As I told you, I had a real example of University of Washington that I missed that opportunity. So be prepared because in my case, I ended up with a crazy crunch time that drove my family nuts. I have a 3-year-old son, and I was working in a very busy dental clinic as a dental assistant. So it was tough. I'd put him to bed and stay up late practicing my preps, preparing for the interviews all at once. So don't do that. Be prepared. Have make sure that you sign up for the International Dentist Central. You guys have a lot of good things there: bench test scores, tips for interviews, tons of things that I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have had more time, like for practicing. But as I said, I stayed up late studying.
And you did it. So
Yeah,
congratulations on
thank
the end of this very long 3+ year journey.
yeah, yeah. And I'm really happy because when I was in the University of North Carolina, one student that it's already studying there told me, congratulations for all of you guys that are here, because you should be proud, because this year they had over 1,000 candidates there applying for only 8 spots. And I
Wow.
remember she told me before I was before going to the interview, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm feeling like right now, because I was happy, I was proud, but I was scared. It's really competitive. So yeah, it's
Those are incredible odds that your application pierced through to get you to that interview. Yeah, that's really, that's tough. So very, very well done. And
that's
now
why
I know you're,
I'm saying thank you very much for you and Kevin, because I can't imagine going through all of that without you guys helping me and guiding me.
it
I
was a real honor.
I could hear the voice of Kevin in my mind while I was thinking and preparing, practicing things over there.
It really was an honor. And it honestly also says a lot about you to be like, I do need help.
Yeah,
And I am going to get the help now, even though I don't have much time. I know I need to kick into gear and act fast. This is the time for action, not for deliberation anymore. I don't have the luxury to just think and wonder and so you did what you thought was the best, which worked for you, and you didn't hesitate when you realized what was ahead of you. So very well done. And
thank,
congratulations again. And you'll be starting your program in just a few months. And now
yes,
I know
yes.
you're all busy getting ready to move and all the stuff. And it's a lot, but it's good stuff. And in just 2.5 years, you'll be out ready to practice. So congratulations again. Very well done. And thank you so much. Any last parting thoughts you have before we say bye?
No, just thank you very much. And if this telling my experience here, sharing my story, if it helps, like just even one candidate, I will be really glad, because we have to help each others. And I know, um, yeah, I'm really glad and grateful for everything.
And this was Cynthia. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye bye.